Hi Libra. Whew. Welcome to November and Scorpio season. I know that your season is now over. It is the beginning of the new astrological year for you, and I hope you have set, particularly towards the beginning of October, I hope you set those annual intentions because they were very, very, very well aspected. That new moon in Libra in October, very beginning, I think it was the end of September actually, but it was the new moon in your sign, and it was so beautiful and it was so well aspected. I think it was probably my favorite new moon of this year. And now we're starting to get things rolling for Libras because Mars is still in your sign. Eight of Wands, things are taking off pretty quickly. With Mars in your sign, you are a little bit of a dynamo. And it's funny because Mars being in Libra is considered quite a weak aspect in astrology, but my perception has always been that being peaceful and being harmonious and diplomatic is a lot more powerful than blunt force. With Mars being in your sign, there's a tendency to want to speak the truth to, for any cost. You don't really mind as long as you're speaking the truth. There's a bluntness there, but just remember Mercury is in retrograde, and it's retrograde in your sector of money. So anything that you say could affect your finances. Just be mindful of it. If you want to pop off and work, if you want to give off to your boss, to give off to your supervisor, to tell somebody what you really think of them, possibly too much, it can affect your pay packet. So just be mindful of that. Now, the beautiful thing about the Eight of Wands, Libra, is that Mars being in your sign has made you kind of like a magnet to what it is that you really want, and things are coming in quite quickly for you. In fact, it may alarm some Libras with the Eight of Wands because it's very fast-paced energy, and whenever things start to move very fast with you, you kind of get that seasickness because you're so much a sign of balance and weighing up the options and trying to make a decision. And when things go really, really quickly, sometimes the decision slips away from you and you can feel kind of anxious. You can feel quite on edge, and Mars being in your sign, if you don't rest enough, if you don't sleep enough, can make you feel incredibly wired. Incredibly wired. So make sure that you are resting, and make sure that if you do want to speak your truth, make sure you're doing it in a way that is kind and is loving, because that's your nature as it is. You're a very soft sign, and you have to make sure that your words don't have ulterior motives behind them. You have to make sure that if you're being honest, it's because that's how you truly feel and you're being fair. And the clue there is that if you speak with an aggression or harshness, it's actually coming from something within you rather than what you're speaking to. And you need to reconsider before you speak if you're coming from a place of fairness or a place of confusion. So, that being said, Venus is of course in your sector of communication, but we're still dealing with Mars. The Emperor rules Mars. It's not done with you just yet. Mars does move on the 19th of November into Scorpio, in which case it's going to give so much power to your confidence, actually. The second house in Scorpio season in general, Libra, is a lot to do with the worth and value that you put on yourself, your time and your efforts. And I think for a lot of you, if you're dealing with an Aries or a Scorpio, things could be moving at an alarming rate, but it could also be that communication is really coming from a place of either personal power or, on the flip side, a need to control things. Mars in your sign can make even the most peaceful and even-tempered Libra a bit of a hothead. So make sure that you're speaking from a place of care. Just an FYI, especially if it's to an authority figure or a father figure, because the Emperor rules the father, but he also rules the boss. There could be some news there. There could be some news from your boss, your father, authority figures, or just the Aries people in your life in general. Watch out for that in the first couple of weeks of November. I sense it's kind of important. Ooh, Queen of Pentacles. So for a lot of you, you want change to happen quite quickly in your career, in your finances. You want more control, but you also don't want the aggravation. That's so Libra. That's wanting to lead. You're a cardinal sign, but you don't want the drama of it, I think. And I think something is starting to look in work as if it's a bit of drama. But with Jupiter here, with the Wheel of Fortune, you're luck financially during Scorpio season, especially because your ruler Venus connects with Jupiter, planet of abundance, at the end of the month. A wish of some kind is being granted. And I think for a lot of you, it kind of is a bit more control over your life in general. You're feeling a lot more in control of things. Seven of Pentacles. What you water will grow. The Wheel of Fortune and the Seven of Pentacles is kind of that gift from Jupiter. So Jupiter changes signs in December. And when Jupiter exits one sign, it usually leaves this kind of gift, depending on what area it falls in for you. And for you, Libra, it has fallen in your sector of communication. So, very, very, very important conversations, meeting of minds, all that good stuff is occurring right up until Capricorn season. So between now and the end of the year, you have more power, you have more prestige, you have more accolades, you have more money than you did, you have more security than you did. And for a lot of you, you're a lot more nurtured than you were, particularly this time 8 months ago. You're a lot more nurtured. You're a lot more... Ooh. I can see why. Knight of Cups, Two of Cups, and the Star. How romantic. Very, very romantic. Venus in the third. Venus in Sagittarius here is Venus in the third. That's actually one of my favorites. I've always noticed that when Venus is in the third, you generally find that it's easier to connect with people on a mental level. It's easier to find people that are like-minded. The Two of Cups is that beautiful romantic meeting. The Knight of Cups is that romantic offer. And the Star is just saying that this is quite serendipitous and blessed. Something, for a lot of Libras that are single, this is kind of a wish come true in terms of romance. Because as you can see with this, the Two of Cups is always about two people connecting on every plane. And the Knight of Cups is that romance coming in. It could be a water sign, it could be a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. It doesn't have to be. It can be quite simply a wish come true romantically for many Libras. It's a pretty nice hand, I have to say. Particularly with Jupiter being so prominent as a planet. Jupiter and Mars. Pretty blessed, pretty much fate-based. Wheel of Fortune and the Star. Closing out one karmic cycle and finding that things are going a lot smoother. Sort of a dream come true. Romantically, that's pretty nice. Between now and February, I think most single Libras will find that they're very much in the throes of something serious. And I think for Libras that are in romantic bonds, there's every chance that even the most difficult romances can really turn around. Or something better can come in. But there's a lot of love there. And it's funny because when Venus connects with Jupiter, makes perfect sense. When Venus connects with Jupiter at the end of the month, it is probably the most auspicious time of the year. One of the most auspicious times of the year is to partner up, to find love, to find that it actually is something that is a good fit, something that makes sense, something that speaks to your sign's need for partnership, for cooperation, but also as an air sign, that balance between the mind and the heart, that need to create a real solid connection, but also to have that space to grow, that need to balance out your rational side with your emotional side and be able to meet in the middle. For a lot of you, I think that if you're romantically merging with someone, they're very much an emotional person, someone who's very sensitive, someone who's very loving, someone who's very caring, someone who's very nurturing. There's a very strong element of feeling nurtured, a very strong element of feeling supported, feeling like no matter what happens, Libra, you are going to be okay, because something about this to me, with the Tower here, the Two of Wands, Page of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles, something is telling me, Libra, that during Scorpio season, because it's so much to do with your self-worth and your self-belief and your value, the Tower here kind of says that the way that you've been doing things before was a lot of the reason it wasn't working, because you were building things on false pretenses. And now you're building something with somebody, be it in career, be it romantically, that can stand steady. And the Tower always, 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 always tells you that whatever it was that you were building that crumbled was just simply not meant to last, and that is okay. It doesn't mean that you can't rebuild with those same tools, the same knowledge. It's just that knowing that you can actually build it because it means something. It's being able to take what it is that you knew before. And very much as well, it's to do with forging your own path and not building it from the bricks that somebody else has used before you that didn't work either. You know, I always think if you're going to take advice from someone, take advice from somebody that you would switch places with, because otherwise you're just going to have the same results, really. And this is very much a choice. You're kind of at a crossroads of how you build this, and you can do it the way that you've always done that's never worked, or you can try something different. And I think with Venus, your ruler, being so well aspected, I think that you're really onto a good thing in Scorpio season and in a lot of Sagittarius season as well. But with the Six of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles, in terms of work, it's very much an I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Make sure you don't make any enemies. Make sure that you don't isolate yourself from your colleagues. Make sure that you, in terms of business, are weighing up the options of what it is, and you're going with your nature and not that forceful Mars energy, or again, taking advice from somebody that you wouldn't change places with. Take advice from people that know the setting, that have been there, that have done that, people that know the process. You know, it's, with the Six of Pentacles, it just says that the people that you give respect to while you're high, you know, when you're up in the ranks, if you give respect to people below you, if you have a tumble, they'll be there to catch you, they'll be there to support you. But if you are not playing the supportive role, if you are challenging people for the sake of your own progression, you might have a bit of a fall. And that's not to say that you would do it on purpose, but Mars being there, I do get the impression that you're going to want to say what's not working, but it's not that you say it, it's just how you say it. So that Mars-Pluto square at the start of the month would make even the most sheepish of individuals question authority. You know? Just be mindful of that. Financially, you could find yourself in really, really lovely places if you make the right investment at the right time. In fact, it kind of seems a little bit like people might just want to give you money at the end of the month, especially as we move into Sagittarius season, which is so much a season of generosity. But Scorpio season for you is all about money, it is all about worth, it is all about value, and I think there's a lot more to the second house than just what abundance means financially. I think for a lot of Libras, it's finally finding a person that sees your value and your worth. Even if people before, particularly those of the Aries nature or the earth sign nature, the Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus people have maybe made you feel a little bit like you were weak for the things that a lot of other people would really appreciate. You know, you're a sign ruled by Venus. Love and romance are actually things that come incredibly naturally to Libra people, and it's what leads them down some very dark pathways because, you know, just because it comes naturally to you doesn't always mean that it comes naturally to everybody else. And that's where we build castles in the sky and we build towers and we think we can pull the whole thing together on our own. But that's not what it is. We have such a strong theme, Libra, of partnership and cooperation and equality. And that's what we're looking for. And as I say, that applies to all aspects of your life, even financially. Be a team player. And in your career, be somebody who plays it fair on all boards, you know? Doesn't give in to the status quo of hierarchy. Treats everybody the same. Because if you do not, Libra, the full moon in Gemini, full moon in Gemini next month might feel a little bit heavy to you because people will speak. So I have to say, out of the last few months, I really think that this is quite a winning hand. I really, really like this. I think Scorpio season is for Libras kind of this really wonderful platform for you to get what it is that you want, but a lot of it depends on how much you value yourself, how much you value your own time, because you don't want to be merging with people, whether in romance or business, if you don't feel like you have anything to offer. And the truth is, Libra, Scorpio season teaches you how much you have to offer. And it shows you how much you have to offer and how valuable you are. And that always comes with the caveat of possibly getting complacent, possibly forgetting where you've come from, possibly forgetting what it is that you really, really do stand for, which is fairness. But I think you'll be fine. I think you've learned an important lesson, and I think you are forging important relationships, important friendships. Rabbit. Aww. Bunny. Ooh. And the snake. Interesting. That makes a lot of sense. It's like coming full circle. Shedding an old skin and beginning afresh. Not a lot of people enjoy the snake energy because they think of deception and they think of all these different things, but I think it's more shedding of skin. And the rabbit. There's really no need to be so timid whenever you are faced with what it is that you want, and there's no need to be shy. Venus in your communication sector wants you very much to speak your truth, to say how you feel. The beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing I think about Venus being in the third is that whatever you say romantically or even in terms of validating yourself is likely to be well received. Venus in the third is a time when you get many compliments, many admirers, but it's also a time when you can speak from the heart. And for it to connect with Jupiter means that the things that you say to somebody that are based on love, that are based on building something secure, come back to you tenfold. So speak things into existence. Speak out into the ether what it is that you want, because Jupiter wants to bless a lot of Libras with the thing that makes, I think every Libra wants, is that Two of Cups moment, that partnership, that connection. I think a lot of Libras want that. And it can go either way. It can be a contract, it can be romance, it can be business, but whatever it is, it's a two. It's a pairing. It is a union. Just make sure that you've learned what the difference is and that you've got the lesson, and that this time you're not building something on your own. So there's no need to be timid. There's no need to think that you have to do everything on your own. There's no need to think that you won't have what it is that you desire most. Just make sure you remain true to yourself, even if you're not completely confident in what that means. Because when the sun is in the second house, a lot of the time it is your confidence that gets the rebuilding. So there are a lot of sweet moments this month, Libra, that I think you're really going to enjoy. And I think in particular the Taurus full moon on the 12th, because we didn't get into that very much, but the energies there. It's so well aspected to Capricorn. It's so well aspected to Pluto and Capricorn that is in your sector of security. And Taurus for you is this most... It represents a time in your life for soul merging, soul connections, soul mates, soul serendipitous feelings, because it's the 8th house. It's that really raw, intimate energy that most people until relatively recently in astrology were quite scared of. They thought it was to do with death, they thought it was to do with taxes, all that stuff, but it's actually so much more deeper, and it's more to do with soul contracts. It's quite an intense, poignant energy. And the full moon is going to present you something very real, very raw, very authentic, and very fulfilling. And it's going to feel quite scary, I think. But as much as I say, be careful with your words, choose your words carefully, Libra, I also say speak from the heart. And you will know the difference. You'll know whenever you're just saying something for the sake of being slightly antagonistic because you're hurt. And then you will know the difference of saying something because you truly feel that love, that passion, that feeling. You'll be able to decipher which one's which. But depending on which one you choose, you have very, very, very different options. It's a pretty interesting spread, I must say. So, that being said, we'll go into the extended, we'll go into whom these people are, the very authoritarian folk that you're questioning, the very sweet romantic interests, the very nurturing motherly energies, and everything else. Love you guys very much, and I will see you in December for Christmas. We're nearly in Capricorn season. It's actually scaring me, so talk to you later, Libra.